Do you tend to add, "but I don't know," at the end of your sentences? You find that your speech grows softer and softer if you are unsure about what you're saying. You lack grit. You're afraid to communicate what you want from somebody else. You're afraid to go after what you desire in life. You're afraid to make mistakes. You're afraid to fail, and therefore you don't even try in the first place. Then you start lying that you value comfort. What's the point of trying so hard just because you're afraid of how failure and mistakes feel? We'd rather not try than risk looking like a fool. And there's many things we can blame this on. There's many excuses we can make, but at the end of the day, we are going to suffer the consequences of it. So we're going to take responsibility. You have to take yourself seriously, if not, nobody ever will. This video is for those people who lack aggression and assertiveness in the things they say, because they're afraid to offend people, right? Nowadays, respecting boundaries becomes such a remarkably valued trait that if you don't do it, you are evil. If you don't respect another person's boundaries, it's just over for you. But because of the obsession of respecting boundaries, right, the way we connect with people becomes so much less intimate because we are so afraid of doing the simplest acts. Because we have to respect somebody's boundaries, for example, it's become difficult to pat someone on the shoulder. What if they don't like to be touched? Now I can't fucking pat them on the shoulder. I have to ask them permission before I pat them on the shoulder. Are you fucking gay? Most of us, even if we're aware of it, we obsess whether somebody would dislike us just because they observed us doing something that isn't morally perfect. And because of that over-fixation, it diminishes the intensity of our character. And though this, interdependency, being afraid of what other people think of you may help us, keep ourselves in check and reduce the amount of evil people out there because they care about what other people think and what other people shame. It affects the way we do many things, and it makes our character lack depth because we're afraid of so many things. For example, the version of you who isn't afraid of what other people think would instinctively do a kind act, let's say. But now you're afraid of, what if people think that I have inferior motives? What if people think that I'm being ingenuous? What if people think that I'm just doing this just to suck up to them? I'm a piece of trash who likes attention, so I'm just not gonna do that thing. Then you can see how that fear not only affects your relationships but also your character and your story. It's almost like it robbed you of the depth of your personality because you're so afraid. And that fear carries on into how we carry ourselves, how we speak, why we are always so uncertain. We cannot be wrong. If we say something wrong with certainty, we're going to be shamed for it. So now we have to, carefully bring out our opinions. And then we find that when we bring out our opinion, we know somebody could disagree with, our voice goes softer and softer and softer and softer. We add, "but I don't know, I could be wrong" at the end of every sentence. It's like a constant reassurance that, hey, I'm not stupid, I'm not trying to offend you, I know I could be wrong, I know I could be wrong. That reassurance makes your speech not only ineffective, but also makes you very difficult to listen to. So let's discuss how you can take yourself more seriously and stop being so uncertain. Start standing up for yourself. Start being a little bit more grounded as a person. First of all, you can't fake competence, you're going to need it. If you're incredibly unsure of yourself and you find yourself incredibly uncertain, and you find yourself very uncomfortable in social situations, what we're going to need is competence and the awareness that you provide value to other people. And I think this is very, very difficult to fake. How to build confidence? You build yourself in areas where other people will generally respect and where you could provide value for other people. How can you do that? Let's say your school environment. What brings you competence in a school environment? Your grades, how you look, your interests and hobbies and other things you could be good at that make you interesting. Your connections around the school with peers and teachers. This is what will bring you value to other people in their environment. In your family environment, how can you provide value to your family? You buy food for them, cook food for them, you keep the house clean, help your family members who are busy to run errands, mediate, be fit and healthy, be able to take care of yourself and not burden anybody else. Next is, if you find yourself unsure of what you're saying, then study the topics that you commonly talk about. Study them, research them in depth, write it down, make some deliberate studying attempt. This changes the game completely. Why expect your mindset to just suddenly change and you're not unsure of anything at all? That is impossible. You're forever going to be unsure and you're forever going to risk being wrong. As long as you open your mouth, you are risking being wrong. And there's nothing wrong with being wrong as long as you think that what you're saying is going to provide value. You have some knowledge about what you're saying and you're not about to provide misinformation that could affect another person's life. So how can you do that? You actually do your research before you say anything about a certain topic, before you make any assertive judgments. And with competence, providing value and knowing your shit, you're going to naturally build social proof, which is another fundamental pillar of what it takes to be a little bit more certain about yourself and more comfortable in your own skin and more grounded. Once you have social proof, competence, you provide value and you've done your research and you know your shit, then now what you're lacking is your mental health. And there's many techniques we can deal with this certain problem where we struggle to be a little bit more assertive and we struggle to think we have enough value to provide, or we struggle to feel in place amongst other people and we're always afraid. One of the most powerful techniques is to completely fake your identity autistically. So what you're going to do is, like, if you find yourself constantly uncertain, then the next time you have a conversation, be blindly certain and then see how you feel, see how people respond to you, and then become comfortable with that. Do it again and again. As long as you're not harming anybody, of course. I don't know, don't spread misinformation like vape is good for health or something. What really helps is when you speak, you need to maintain good posture. That ensures that the airflow is effective through your body. And because of that, it brings you more confidence and you're more comfortable and you feel less anxious because, you know, when you roll your shoulders forward, and the air goes in from your mouth, it has to curve and go down. So it doesn't feel very comfortable when you breathe. It feels like you are in a cramped space, you are claustrophobic, it feels like you are supposed to be anxious in that moment. But if you sit straight, you take up a lot of space, your chest is up, you know, it feels like you own the moment. You can say whatever the fuck you want and it'll be fine. So if you want to be more certain, posture, very important. Fake your identity and push your boundaries. And see what you're okay with, see what people are okay with, and see how far you can let yourself go. And from doing those things and how you feel about yourself doing those things, you will have a better idea of your morals, your values, what part of you want to show, where do you want to be more assertive in life. You start to question whether is there really value in being more certain? Is there really value in not being afraid of what other people think? And how much do I have to balance that? Because caring about what other people think is not entirely unimportant, right? It's because we care about what other people think that defines things that are valuable, that defines what value even is to another person. And if we want to do a good deed for somebody, of course we have to care about what they think. If you want to give somebody a birthday gift, for example, we have to care about what they think. Wonderful acts are also run by considering what other people think. So being afraid or thinking about what another person is thinking of you or how another person values things isn't a terrible thing. It's only because you're so chronically afraid of it and it cripples you, it takes away the depth from your character, as we talked about, that makes it a bad thing. So as we push ourselves to be those bad things that they deem certain acts to be, we actually learn a lot from doing them, and we find that either, oh, they're not so bad after all, or oh, they are actually as bad as other people say it is. Then from there we can find ourselves better just from faking the identity. Make the mistake, you know, do the things that people shame. I mean, of course, to a certain extent, don't be retarded. That's the only way we can find out what is truly important to us and how we truly want to carry ourselves. So if you want to take yourself more seriously, be willing to make the mistakes, be willing to fail, be willing to be ashamed, be willing to be made fun of. It's the only way to learn. If you want to take yourself more seriously, you need evidence that you deserve it in your brain. You need a perceived level of evidence. Sure, there's plenty of other people who have a boisterous ego, you know, they're arrogant, they are not as confident as they deserve to be. But frankly speaking, we can't decide what exact amount of confidence somebody deserves. And confidence is such a powerful trait that will benefit your life in every way. So you really got to take yourself more seriously and build that confidence. So instead of overthinking about how much confidence you deserve exactly and how you're going to deliberately earn that confidence, think about confidence, especially social confidence, as a skill to be trained. As you deliberately develop that confidence in those realms, there's a fucking monkey, boys. Please don't touch my camera. Whoa, 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 that's not okay. Alright, I think I've reached the end of this video because he's gonna take my bag and my 100+ and shit, so alright. Make some mistakes, deliberately challenge yourself to do those things you're afraid of and see how you feel about it. Nobody's going to take you seriously unless you do. So yeah, I love you. Good luck. It's a better world.